When I say epic stealth game, what do you think of? Metal Gear Solid? Thief the Dark Project? Thief Metal Age? How about Hudson Hawk for the NES? No? Huh, me either. I mean, it's a real shame, too, because it's a game that's supposedly based on a movie about a legendary thief who steals Leonardo da Vinci's ancient artifacts. There's very little stealth going on here. And that's a real shame, because you're stealing Leonardo da Vinci's legendary artifacts. I mean, that's like something a super thief would do, that would sneak around in dark corners of buildings, knocking people out with blackjacks, and... Alright, that game was kind of made, wasn't it? Well, let's take the concept of that, but scale it back, though, right? For the NES. Let's make it sneaker for the NES. Now, it can't really be in 3D, obviously, otherwise you'd end up with Fester's Quest. When you think of a sneaking game based on the NES technology, what would it be? Well, I think, at least for me, it might be some sort of overhead, tile-based scrolling thing where you can sneak between shadows and sort of do something like that. A side-scrolling platformer, on the other hand? Never would have crossed my mind. No, I'm not going to play that. I refuse to. I fundamentally refuse to play this monumental failure of gaming. I don't care how long you show me a still of a woman from the movie. I'm not going to play this game. What are you doing? Stop that. Stop. Stop. Stop it. Stop. 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 What the hell is wrong with you? Stop. What is wrong with you? Stop. Stop. Alright. I'll do it. I'll play Hudson Hawk on the NES. Until we win? This game is weird. I mean really weird. From the very start, there are things that happen in this game that have almost nothing to do with the movie. From the beginning, you're able to throw softballs, and you're chased by dogs that relentlessly bite you in the ass. I don't understand either of these things, because Hudson Hawk never throws a softball and is never chased by dogs. In fact, the running gag throughout the movie, as terrible as it is Hawk's inability to get a decent cup of cappuccino. They did something strange with the story, too. In the movie, Hudson Hawk is set up to steal a bunch of artifacts, otherwise a couple of rich people will kill him and his friends. In the game, he's stealing the artifacts in order to ensure the stability of the world's economy. I'd hate to be the one to say this, but Hudson Hawk the movie actually had a deeper, more involving story than something in this world. Its own video game. That is such a frightening thought. Aside from the horrible, and I mean horrible, lack of connection with the movie it's based on, there are a couple of other problems with the game. First, the graphics aren't exactly the best in class. Either the art direction sucked or it was intentional. It might have been intentional because a lot of the traps in the game rely on your inability to distinguish the background from a trap that will set off an alarm. The music isn't much better. Of course, you can judge that for yourself. Finally, the controls suck. Oh my, the controls are horrible. Moving in any direction is a struggle for Hudson Hawk. Once you press left or right, you don't start moving in that direction. It takes Hawk a second or two to decide if he actually wants to move there. Afterwards, he gains momentum on what appears to be a logarithmic scale. Slowly at first, but then he gets a huge jump in momentum that's almost impossible to control. That means making precise movements is almost impossible, in a game where you need to be in the exact right spot to make precise jumps. It also doesn't help when you're going up against enemies that have to be punched in the exact right spot, otherwise the hit doesn't register. Oh, and there's one more problem here. The inability to hit enemies with your punch, yeah, that's gonna kill you more than a few times. You see, for the most part, you're never given any clues, visual or audio, if you're taking damage. Unless you're getting pushed around or blown up, you can't really tell when you're getting hit. And if you're trying to punch an enemy in the back of the head, you're probably getting hit and don't even know it. Alright, problems aside, how do you actually beat this game? Well, since this is a platformer, I really can't go around telling you how to beat the game because it really relies on your ability to react to situations. but I could explain the various situations you'll be in. In level 1, you'll run across several enemies and obstacles that'll cause a few problems. The first one you'll run into are the dogs. These guys are a touch annoying. They bite you in the ass and throw you off the roof. They don't screw around either. Throw a softball and make them fetch it or jump over them. You can also kill them with the softball, but that might be on par with Michael Vick. The next obstacle you run into are the security cameras. Well, they're not actually cameras, they're more like security laser tag. The camera part moves into 3 different places, shooting a laser beam in those positions. If you get hit, you die. Just move between the lasers and avoid them. The security guards are next up, and they're easy to deal with. Just throw softballs at them to take them out. Now next is a recurring problem, the floor tiles. Yeah, there are floor tiles that set off alarms. Touch the wrong tile and you'll alert everyone and everything in the building to your presence. That means security officers are more aggressive and cameras move at 20 times the speed of friggin' light. Another trick this game uses are the laser detectors embedded in the walls. They're a bit hard to spot, and when you set them off, you'll set off the alarms. Again. You'll get the same results: aggressive guards, cameras that move at the speed of light. Do yourself a favor and don't set off the alarms, okay? In the first level, there are these assholes that shoot at you. Thankfully, they're only as smart as the developers chose to make them. All you have to do is duck under their bullets and toss a softball at them. In the first level, when you fall down a chute, you'll eventually be forced to make your way through the service area. And I don't remember seeing this in the movie at all. You'll be going up against 2 of Hawk's most deadly enemies, plumes of smoke and electricity, both of which will kill you instantly if you touch them. A problem, to say the least, especially considering the horrible controls in the game. Most of the puzzles in this level, and the rest of the game, rely on the impossible-to-use controls. You'll find that jumping gaps, killing enemies, and generally being able to succeed in a side-scroller is all made 100 times more difficult because of the controls. It's almost as if the designers knew that they were flawed, and used them as an excuse to make the game more difficult. On one hand, I'd like to think they were geniuses that created something great in spite of their tools' shortcomings. The other part of me wants to strangle the people that made this port of an otherwise fun Amiga game. Oh yeah, the pink octopus things? I have no idea. So in the first level, once you get to the gallery and to the painting, you'll probably be stumped as to what to do next. After all, in the movie, Hudson Hawk is busy singing and trying to unlock a safe. You'd think that you'd have to do something similar here, but how do you get to the safe? It's an NES game. Wouldn't the character automatically move the painting? So you'll stand there, jumping around, trying to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do. Well, after jerking yourself off for a few minutes, you'll undoubtedly try to punch the painting and make the same what the fuck face I did. To end the level, you have to punch the painting. How in the hell does that work? Alrighty, second level, and it's a sewer level. Not only that, it's also a goddamn maze, too. That's 2 strikes already against this one level. Not a good way to start. The worst part about it is that it's probably the one where you're going to die, and die, and die, and die. You might say that you're going to die a lot, but there's another spot in the game that's going to kill you many more times over. There are 4 main problems you're going to run into here: figuring out where the heck you're supposed to go, nuns with wheelbarrows that drop bombs, instant death pikes, and pieces of jelly that float around the screen and hit you on the head. Figuring out where to go isn't too hard. Find out how to go to the right and you should be okay. It'll take some time, but really all you need to do is end up going to the right. It's just a matter of paying attention to what you're doing to get around some sections of the maze. The nuns, well, they confuse me. I really don't remember nuns that push wheelbarrows around and drop bombs from the movie. Really, I just don't get it. They're in the sewers wheeling around a bunch of bombs and dropping them on the floor at random intervals. What possible service to the Pope can that serve? I have no idea. Taking out these little black-suited nutjobs is actually a touch more difficult than you'd imagine. You see, softballs don't kill them, only stun them. Really, your only option is to use a softball on the nuns and stun them from behind, then punch them in the back of the head. Yeah, really, you're expected to punch nuns in the back of the head. The instant death pikes aren't too much of a problem, except in a couple of key areas that either require you to find another way around, or have some pretty expert jumping abilities to get by them. Just don't get hit by them because they impale you, and that's bad. Finally, there's the jelly blob thing that bounces around the screen and hits you on the head. I don't know what this thing is or how to take care of it. Just avoid it until you can get to another screen, making it disappear. If you get hit by it too many times, you die. Once you get past the sewers and you're inside the building, you'll be put up against the single strangest enemy in the game. I think they're nuns mounted on tanks and loaded with semi-automatic weapons. No, really, it's a tank-mounted nun. That's one of the most frightening things I've ever seen in my life. These guys, or gals, are nasty. If you get too close, they spin around and shoot you. How do you take care of them? Well, it's all about the timing. You've got to be a perfect distance away from them in order to avoid getting shot at, but at the same time, be close enough to hit them with your softball. Once you're able to hit them while they're turned around, you should be able to run up behind them and punch them in the back of the head. Again, killing nuns by viciously beating them in the back of the skull. This game is not fucking around. Oh, and these nuns, they're all over the place. Believe me, you're going to die. A lot. Speaking of not fucking around, once you get up to the codex, the object you're supposed to steal in the second level, you may notice that it's blocked off by a cage, and every time you get up to it, it's locked and the level starts you over from the underground passageway. Well, there's a trick. You cannot touch the ground. Why? I have no idea. You see, in the movie, if you touch the codex case, the alarms are set off and a cage surrounds the codex. Reasonable, considering that the codex is displayed in a public museum. In the game, not so much. It's hidden in an underground lair and the cage slowly lowers depending on how much time you spend on the ground. Anyway, once you get up to this point, you're expected to jump between the platforms and never touch the ground. Or the white lights. Yeah, those white dots, they hurt you. I don't know why. Just go with it. As you can imagine, this part is exceedingly difficult, especially when you take into account the horrible movement mechanics. You'll be hard-pressed to get through this section without giving up in frustration. After a lot of jumping, you'll finally obtain the codex and move on to the final level of the game, Da Vinci's castle. Hey, quick history lesson, Da Vinci didn't own a castle. He was invited to live in the castle of Clow by Francis I, where, as an old man, he would be free to pursue his research until his death. The castle of Clow, nowadays, would be more considered to be a French manor, a chateau, if you will. What the hell the Clow has to do with this castle shown in the movie and in the game is beyond me. Anyway, this level takes the cake. You've got some really batshit insane enemies here, from cats that crawl on tightropes, to Swiss guards that bounce around like they're on crack, to enemies that float around by grabbing onto a bunch of balloons and shooting at you in midair. It's a horror show of ridiculousness. Thankfully, the level itself isn't too awful. Yes, there are some pain-in-the-ass sections, like when you have to jump over an impossibly large gap, and the only way to make it across is to find the invisible platforms that you can stand on to make it. Oh, are you expecting an end boss? Maybe you're expecting the two rich pricks from the movie to throw tennis balls at you? Perhaps you'd expect to face off against the butler with the seriously too large knife hidden in his shirt. How about facing off against the stereotypical big white foreign bruiser that's too dumb to know he's dead? Nope, there's no end boss here. Instead, you get to face off against the gold machine, and it's pathetically easy. All you need to do is flip one switch, run around the level to the other side of the machine, grab the gold trinket, and that's it. For those of you who are wondering, this is in exact contrast to what happens in the movie. Instead of stealing something from the gold machine, Hawk puts together the missing pieces of the machine, leaving one part out, which causes the machine to explode. You know, I don't know why I'm complaining. I mean, if the game had followed the movie exactly, we'd still have this gem.
What's going on in there?
You want me to rape him?